Michigan and Michigan State hate each other, and they play each other this weekend. That's good for us. We can talk about them behind their back. Oh, and little brother's going to lose this one. Sorry, Sparty. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked on Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I am Craig Sheeman, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. Thank you so much. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Jace Medical. Empower yourself when you purchase a Jace case, providing you with a personal supply of 5 antibiotics that treat over 50 infections. Get yours today at jasemedical.com. That's Jase medical.com. Well, maybe a street fight in East Lansing. These two teams don't like each other. We're going to talk about this big game this weekend, one of many on the Big Ten slate, plus the latest news and injuries. Buckeyes fan, you're going to want to pay attention to that. And we'll have our Big Ten power rankings. Be sure to subscribe. It's a little black button down below. And you can follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcasts. That way you get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. Well, the Michigan Wolverines are at the Michigan State Spartans, East Lansing, Saturday night. This is the 116th meeting between these two teams. The Wolverines lead 72-38-5. Hope that math checks out. I think it does. And they've won 27 of the last 44, going back to 1979. They, of course, play for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Everybody's playing for a trophy at this point of the season. And it will be played under the lights for the first time at Michigan State at Sparty Stadium. Yeah, you know the deal between these two. Michigan refers to Michigan State as little brother. Michigan State hates that, by the way. And they want to whip Michigan's rear end, and they could give them a fit. No matter who, throw out the records. You know the old cliche. The problem is, though, that this year, Michigan might be the best constructed team ever. At least that's what Michigan people say. With Michigan State, on the other side, the wheels have fallen off, and this team, it's just looking for a place to land at this point. So Michigan will win this game easily, but we'll get into it a little bit. I actually grew up in the state of Michigan, and it seemed to me that Michigan got favorable media treatment. It was always Michigan first, Michigan State second, and I think that's how Michigan State feels a lot of the time. Spartan fan, you're watching right now, listening right now, let me know. You probably feel the same way. But I'm going to be fair about this. And although I've always felt like the Michigan game was the most important game on the Spartan schedule, it's like the second or third most important game on the Michigan schedule, right? I think that's part of the back and forth with this rivalry. Anyway, I think that's a fair assessment. Now, adding to this rivalry, of course, last year we had a little situation where both teams were playing, and Michigan won 29-7, and a fight broke out between some of the players in the tunnel of the Big House, and assault and battery charges were filed. It was pretty serious. Spartans defensive back Kerry Crump was charged with assault and battery and sentenced to 1 year probation and community service. Now, I will say that this week, moving ahead, getting ready for this game, some players have been asked about last year and whatnot. And there was a pretty good answer given by Michigan running back Blake Corum. He's a pretty mature kid, actually. He came in and he said, look, yeah, we remember that last year. We think about it once in a while, but we're not dwelling on it. We just want to show up and take care of business and get the win. It's pretty, like I said, pretty mature kid. This team has big aspirations, okay? And too much to lose to get caught up in nonsense like last year. So it's not going to be any like revenge or anything like that taking place. And on the other side, Michigan State comes to play in this game. Now, like I said, this is their big one. They have this one circled. They want to take Big Brother down. They don't even like calling him Big Brother. Jim Harbaugh's first year at Michigan saw how this rivalry goes, right? He thought he had the dub all wrapped up. Then they botched that punt snap or what, and then the Spartans had the walk-off touchdown on the bad Michigan punt, and the Spartans got the win. We remember that. It's a pretty big deal. Mel Tucker gave Harbaugh a hard time. Remember, the narrative at the beginning of Harbaugh wasn't not only that he couldn't beat Ohio State, he had a little bit of trouble with Michigan State too. People were on him for all that. He has since turned all that around. But back to Mel Tucker for a moment. Won 11 games a few years ago, got that big contract, and Michigan State has, they've made it to a college. They made it to a college football playoff before Michigan did. They've done a lot of good. Of course, they didn't score against Alabama in that playoff game, but they made it nonetheless. Look, I'm sitting here taking a moment to build up Michigan State just a little bit because, well, first of all, I really appreciate Spartan fans. And because I'm about to tear up the Spartans because they've had some big time problems, right? Ever since they gave Mel Tucker that huge contract, you fans have seen some diminishing returns there at Michigan State. Mel Tucker is now gone. The team has suffered through losses and injuries and a perplexing quarterback controversy. I say perplexing in that it's possible that it took half a season to figure out that the wrong guy was starting under center. Maybe they got it right now. Meanwhile, to say Michigan has been on just a smooth ride would be an understatement. While the Spartans are rotating quarterbacks, Jim Harbaugh thinks his quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, is the greatest Michigan quarterback of all time. That includes Tom Brady and Jim Harbaugh. Look, I couldn't tell you just how good McCarthy is because he never plays an entire game. Michigan always has just a monstrous lead in the second half. And Jack Tuttle, best thing he ever did was transfer from Indiana to Michigan as a backup. He gets to play a lot because their leads are so big. So, look, the Michigan offense, offensive and defensive lines, they just wear you down. Just wear you down. I hear so many people saying, it's like a boa constrictor, just tighten you up and just choking you out at the end of the game. I think they're more like a giant bulldozer coming at you for 60 minutes. So many areas that can hurt you. Roman Wilson, another guy, leads college football in touchdowns. It's J.J. McCarthy's favorite target. And their linebackers are steady. Their defensive backs just fly over the field. They got it all at all levels of the field, both sides of the ball. Again, I've said this before. I'll say it again. They're playing the best complementary football, offense, defense, special teams, than anybody else in the country right now. Only one team has scored double figures on them, and that was Minnesota that put up 10 points. The Wolverines have the #1 scoring defense in America, and that's why they're going to win this game on Saturday. The margin of victory will be based on how much their offense actually gets rolling in this football game. So those are the kind of things that we are considering when we look at this football game. But they are rolling to a point where, look, they've scored 50 points in back-to-back weeks for the first time since 1975. I thought 1975. I'm shocked that Bo Schembechler's team scored 50 points, but apparently they did it twice in 1975. So, respectfully, though, Michigan State, they've had their day. They'll have their day again. It's just not going to be this week. That's all. So, and don't forget, as you know, on Saturdays, Lockdown Big Ten has been going live. We've been doing it at different times, kind of trying to find our place, late afternoons, late at night, to give instant reaction to what's going on Saturday. Because we're here every weekday, Monday through Friday, but we didn't want action to take place on Saturday and then wait till Monday. So we always come on live on this YouTube channel on Saturdays. And we've decided that this weekend, we're going to come on live as soon as Michigan State goes to halftime. All right, we're going to come on live at halftime in Michigan, and we'll talk about the first half of that game and also everything else that took place in the Big Ten that day, including Ohio State and Penn State. Speaking of Ohio State, we got an update on all their injuries that they have, so we will take care of all of that and some other news and awards and our power rankings coming up. It's all in 1 minute right here on Lockdown Big Ten. So I want to tell you about Jace Medical. This is pretty cool. You know, anytime you turn on the TV, there's craziness going on in the world, whether it be the Middle East, natural disasters. I live here in South Florida. A little more than a year ago, we had a massive Cat 5 hurricane, Hurricane Ian, and it messed things up. And that includes supply chains and supply chain shortages that could be with medications too. That's a pretty big deal, or an inability to get medications in a timely manner. So I want to tell you about the Jace case. In fact, I have one right here. That's what it looks like. Comes in a little package like this. Medications, antibiotics inside, all at your doorstep. So it's a personalized emergency medication kit that contains 5 essential antibiotics that treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. Jace Medical is now offering customizability to your Jace case. Dozens of add-on medications. They want to do the best they can to help you choose and customize the medications you want and have them on hand for your family's unique needs. Everybody's needs are different. Jace is continually working to expand their medication offerings. As a matter of fact, ivermectin, they just added that to the rotation if that's what you need in a Jace case. Plus, they have gift cards. Holidays are coming up right around the corner. Buy a gift card for family or your loved ones so that they can get a Jace case of their own. And all it takes to get a Jace case is you just fill out a simple online form, and in some cases, jump on a quick call with one of their board-certified physicians, and you can get ongoing care from their physicians on any treatment-related questions. This is doctor-created and doctor-recommended. So no need to be caught unprepared. You can empower yourself to be ready for any emergency or the unexpected things that happen in life. Here's what you need to do. Go to jacemedical.com and enter the code LOCKEDON at checkout for a $20 discount on your order. That's the promo code LOCKEDON at jacemedical.com. That's J-A-S-E, jacemedical.com. And snap into the rest of football season, right? With America's #1 sports book, FanDuel. This is a lot of fun. If you haven't, you've got to do this. FanDuel it adds a little extra interest to the things you're already interested in. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. It's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than to do it right now. And I know we're talking about NFL, but we do Big Ten here. And this weekend, the Penn State-Ohio State game, Ohio State currently is a 4.5-point favorite at home, but they got all those injuries. Watch that line move a little bit throughout the week. 4.5 points right now. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, do it. The app is easy to use. They got a wide range of betting options, including point spreads, player props, over-under. I like over-unders. I think they're easier than point spreads. That's just me. But they got all that and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the rest of the NFL season and have a fun time with all of that. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. So we just mentioned the injuries with the Buckeyes. And we spent a good deal of time talking about that in yesterday's podcast. In fact, if you missed it, go back and check it out, the Buckeyes and whether they're healthy enough to beat Penn State. List of injured players include Emeka Egbuka, Travion Henderson, Denzel Burke, Mayan Williams. This is a big deal. I tried to convey that yesterday. Ryan Day wasn't too specific about anyone's individual return today when he spoke, but he said, hopefully we'll have all those guys back on Saturday. It's kind of a blanket statement. I don't know if it's optimism for Buckeyes fans that these guys will be back for the weekend, but he's just going to give just enough intel to not give any information. I bet he carries this out to game day and just enough to keep James Franklin guessing at Penn State. That's my take on that. Also, regarding injuries, the worst fears for the Iowa Hawkeyes have come true. Tight end Eric All, who transferred in from Michigan, the injury he received over the weekend against Wisconsin, it was a torn ACL. So he'll be off of the season. You already know that his co-Michigan transfer and quarterback Cade McNamara was lost the previous week with a knee injury, and tight end teammate Luke Lachey, he's already out for the season with injuries. Although Kirk Ferentz gave a glimmer of hope, that Lachey might come back in December. Maybe. He had the surgery. So that tells me, either Big Ten championship or a bowl game or something. Get out there one more time before he gets ready for the NFL draft. But we'll see. And then speaking of tight ends, they're so thin there. Addison Ostranga, he's been out lately with an injury, but he just returned to practice. So that's some good news. Look, the Hawkeyes are amazingly at 6-1, 3-1 in the Big Ten after that win against Wisconsin. And that Wisconsin game, that was tough on the Badgers too. Wisconsin quarterback Tanner Mordecai broke his hand, had surgery to put a pin in his hand. No timetable for the 6-year senior's recovery at this point. And I told you a few days ago about Indiana and Tom Allen. As you know, they made the change at offensive coordinator after the Maryland game a couple of weeks ago. They fired Walt Bell, promoted Rod Carey. But they also, a week later, added former Virginia Tech head coach Justin Fuente as a football analyst. He took over at Virginia Tech back when Frank Beamer retired back in 2015. All these offensive changes took place right before the Michigan game, right? And it's like, all right, good luck. Here's your new job. Now go get ready for the best defense in the country. The Hoosiers have a decent Rutgers team coming at them this week. So we'll see if they can show that they can improve on offense. But Rutgers is pretty tough as well. Got all of our awards throughout the Big Ten. Let's get to them here. The Offensive Player of the Week, J.J. McCarthy, Michigan quarterback, and the 52-7 win over Indiana. Had 3 touchdown passes in that game and engineered 6 straight scoring drives with 5 touchdowns. It was the first time, as I mentioned, Michigan scored back-to-back 50-point games since the mid-'70s, and the first time in program history with 10 straight games over 30 points. They're amazing. Always scoring more than 30, and they're not giving up more than 10. It's incredible. Great formula to win, right? Defensive Player of the Week, Seth Coleman at Illinois. Outside linebacker, 6 tackles, 3 sacks, 3 tackles for loss in Illinois' 27-24 win over Maryland. And his 3 sacks are the most in a game by anyone in the Big Ten this season. Also, we have co-special teams player of the week here. Torrey Taylor, most popular punter in America for Iowa. 10 punts, 506 yards in that win over Wisconsin. 2 punts went over 60 yards. 4 punts were down inside the 20. That's the second time he's earned that award this season. He's going to get drafted as a punter. Somebody's going to spend a draft pick on him. Also, Daquan Hardy at Penn State, their corner. But he was returning punts for the first time ever in college football for him. Guess what he did? 56-yard touchdown on a punt return and a 68-yard punt return touchdown in that 63-0 win over UMass. Again, first time he's ever done it. Boom. I think he's going to do it some more. Freshman of the week. Now, here's a news bulletin. It's not a player from Minnesota. I know. Every week it's a running back from Minnesota. This time it's a running back from Illinois. Caden Fagan. 19 carries, 84 yards, and a touchdown in the win against Maryland. And his touchdown tied the game at 14 on a 4th and 1 before the half. It was his first career touchdown. So nice job for everybody out there. That's pretty cool. And those are the Big Ten awards of the week, if you will. So right now, real quick, I want to thank everybody who's checking us out before we get to our power rankings. If you're an everydayer, thank you. Always appreciate everybody who checks us out. A lot of new people discovering us all the time from what I can see, and I always appreciate that. Be sure to subscribe down below, the little black subscribe button. It's free. You click it and you're in with us, the Cool Kids Club, the Big Ten Club. Also, share it with a Big Ten friend and follow and like Locked On Big Ten. So also a reminder on this channel on Fridays from 11 a.m. to noon and all the Locked On College channels, we are our Locked On College Football Kickoff live show. That's every Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern till noon. I'm on it for a couple of minutes. A lot of people contribute to it. It's a very, very good program to check out. All right. We've got our power rankings coming up from the Big Ten. We do that in the middle of each and every week. That's in 1 minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. So passion, drive, and patience. It's what football coaches try to strive for. Maybe you too. It's what brings home the winning trophy. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. Over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at all the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. So in the middle of the week, I always like to do some power rankings because that's fun and always debatable. And we'll get this on here and put it on screen for those who are watching on YouTube video. Those of you listening on audio podcasts, I'll try and describe it as best as I can. But here we go, full screen with it. Look, got to keep the Michigan Wolverines at number one, right? I mean, until they're the best team. And now you could argue between 2 and 3. Ohio State 2, Penn State 3. But those are clearly the best 3. They've separated themselves from everybody else. Top 3 in the Big Ten right now. And number 2 and number 3 will solve itself this weekend as Ohio State hosts Penn State. Maryland Terps, they wanted to hang with those top 3, but they lost to Ohio State. And so we're going to keep them right at number 4. This is still a good football team, even though they've lost a couple in a row. They got to snap out of it. They had a little hangover against Illinois. The Iowa Hawkeyes are at number 5. We'll move them up. I think they were 6 last. I think we reversed these from last week. Wisconsin, since Iowa beat Wisconsin. Iowa at 5, Wisconsin at 6. Rutgers at 7 and trending upward, I might add. Nebraska is at number 8. I've got the Fighting Illini. That was a good win for them this past weekend against Maryland. Last second field goal. They're at number 9, though. Still some more work to do. And the Northwestern Wildcats at number 10 with their 3 wins on the season. Here's the best of the rest. Minnesota Golden Gophers at number 11. I think they could finish a lot higher than this, get on a roll. Michigan State Spartans at number 12. The Purdue Boilermakers, they got beat at home by Ohio State this past weekend. They're at number 13. And the Indiana Hoosiers trying to find themselves here, find a quarterback and an offense. They are at number 14 in the power rankings. So wanted to put that up there. And in the meantime, I had another little fun thing I just found before we went into the podcast today. I found some NCAA attendance figures. The top 3 in the entire country are all Big Ten schools. Penn State's number 1. Average attendance, 110,051 people. That's at 103% capacity. Guess it's standing room only over there at Beaver Stadium. Michigan right behind them. Average attendance at 109,669. That's at 102%. And Ohio State at 102,696 at 99.92%. A lot of numbers, but basically out of the entire country, top 3 in attendance, all in the Big Ten. Nebraska cracked the top 12 as well. And I thought it was a pretty interesting list. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for checking us out here. As I always say, many ways for you to contact me if you want to reach out. You can hit me up at Twitter at Talk Big Ten, number 10. Got our website as well. Talk Big Ten, number 10, talkbig10.com. And you can leave me comments on YouTube and subscribe while you're there. Please, it helps me out. Subscribe and follow this podcast on your favorite podcast app. And then you get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every morning. We crank them out again Monday through Friday. And don't forget, live show on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, Locked On Big Ten. We're going to go live at halftime of the Michigan State game on Saturday. So check that out. And check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast for all the latest of everything else going on in sports. I want you to have a great day. And I can't wait till we meet again tomorrow. Check us out. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman.